today I am in my kitchen and I am baking some of my favorite all-time recipes. I have my favorite muffin recipe I'll be making. I'll also be making some sourdough bread. I am trying a new muesli bar recipe and it has become a favorite. I've only made it a few times and it is definitely a favorite, so I will share that with you guys today. And I am also making some of my super easy brownies. These are so easy. They are just one pan, super easy. Okay, so to get things started today, I am starting to make my bread. So I will leave my favorite bread recipe down below, but I'm just getting all of my flours. I have a plain flour, I have a wholemeal flour, and I have a bread flour. So you just get those 3 different types of flours in a bowl and you put water on it. So what this does is the water absorbs into the flour and it makes this beautiful like dough. So this process is called autolyse. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. It's just when the flour like soaks up all the water and it gets like it turns into a dough. It's really amazing. So I am getting that started. So you need to let this sit for 30 minutes. So after you've mixed your flours together and you've mixed your water into the flour, it sits for 30 minutes to soak up all the water. So you can use like a spoon to stir it in. I like to get messy and I just like get my hands in there. But it is a really messy process. But there is something very therapeutic about making bread, like getting your hands in dough. I'm not sure, but there is a secret therapy behind bread making. It is really enjoyable and quite soothing. So I think get your hands in it. Okay, so when my bread is sitting doing that autolyse process, I'm going to make my favorite muffin recipe ever. These are my blueberry muffins. I love this recipe. It has olive oil in it. It has Greek yogurt in it. They always turn out really good, and I'm really happy with the ingredients in it as well. In my household, I like to cook things that are delicious, but I always do try to have good ingredients in them and as healthy ingredients as I can in most of the things I make. Every now and then I make just some naughty things just for the sake of it, but the everyday cooking, I do like to try to make it a little bit healthy, but it has to taste good. I am definitely a foodie, and the food, it needs to be enjoyable, it needs to taste good, but I think you can have both. I think you can have it so they're good ingredients and it also tastes really good. So with these muffins, you have 2 bowls. You've got a dry bowl and then you have a wet bowl. So that's what I'm just preparing now. And there is a little bit of a secret to really good muffins is you add the wet bowl into the dry bowl, but you need to make sure that you don't overmix it. If you overmix it, it can get like tough and just not as light and fluffy. So when you add the wet to the dry, just mix it the smallest amount you can, just combining the ingredients. Also, if you are using frozen blueberries, try not to let them thaw out before. If they're really frozen, the color won't bleed as much. I really love this silicone muffin mold. I use it all the time, obviously to make my muffins, but then I also make like larger ice blocks with it. I freeze like baby food in it, and even like if I have extra rice, I'll like freeze little portions of rice or quinoa in it. I use it all the time. It is really, really good. Okay, so the muffins are going in the oven. Now I'm coming back to my sourdough bread. I am trying something a little bit different, a little bit wild. This is our new smoked salt that we're playing with for the store. We love smoking so many different things in our restaurant. We use like smoked meats, and we smoke our hams. We smoke so many different things. And the last batch we smoked some salt. So instead of just using standard salt, I'm actually using some of our smoked salt in the sourdough today. And then you just get the starter and you just mush it together with your hands, and then you pop it aside, and we will just come back and stretch and fold this starter every 15 minutes to start, and then we go to every 30 minutes. I'm not super strict with it. I just do it when I think about it. Sometimes I set a timer, sometimes I don't. I probably can be better at this, but I just do it whenever I feel like it, and it always turns out really, really good. Just feeding my starter now, so just with flour and water, mixing it up. I don't measure, I just look at the consistency, and when it's like thick pancake batter, I know it's good. So stretching and folding, we just pick it up and then we fold it down on top of each other. So what this does, it helps sort of create some really nice air bubbles in the bread. But again, if you don't get through to all your stretch and folds, it does still turn out really, really nice. Okay, so this is a new recipe they've added to my favorites collection. These are some muesli bars. Now, I don't technically know if this is classed as baking because we don't actually bake it, which makes it really, really easy. We just add rolled oats and then whatever else you like. So nuts, seeds, dried fruit, whatever you like in your muesli bar. I had this blend, which was apricots, cranberries, pistachios, and then I added some dry roasted almonds in there as well. You can cut them up. I added the almonds whole just for something, I don't know, a little bit different. Then we just mix it all together. And our muffins are just coming out of the oven now. I just let them cool just for a few minutes out of the oven. These muffins are amazing. They're such a treat. I leave a few out and we eat them over the next couple of days. I probably leave them out for 2 days, and then I freeze the rest. So I always have some muffins in the freezer that I can just pull out whenever we need. So now we're making the ingredients that will bind our rolled oats and our dried fruit mixture together to make our muesli bar. This is so simple. So we do half a cup of peanut butter and then half a cup of honey. Now, I've got a little toddler and he actually broke my measuring set. The only one I have left is the cup measurement. That was the only one that was wooden and the rest was ceramic. So I'm just making everything with a cup measurement. Like I said before, I'm a very simple cook. These recipes are super forgiving and everything turned out really good, even though I was just using a cup measurement for everything. I was just guessing it, but it's really, really forgiving recipes. So with that honey and peanut butter mixture, you heat it up and you stir it until it gets like caramelly. It turns into like this beautiful caramel goodness. And then you take it off the heat and you press it down into a tray. Just be careful, it can be hot, so when it cools a little bit, you can use your hands to just really press it down nice and firmly. And then we just pop it in the fridge to just get a little bit harder before we cut it. Something I'm really trying to do in my kitchen is clean up as I go, because baking is so much fun. However, when you finish baking and there's this giant pile of dishes, it just ruins all that fun and you think this isn't enjoyable. So as I go, I do try to wash up as I go, and I keep very small supplies. I only keep a few bowls. I mostly use like that same saucepan, or I use the same things again and again. So if I wash as I go, I sort of always have them ready. And I always think the biggest motto I always say in my head is rinse now, scrub later. If you let things sit, you need to scrub and put so much effort into cleaning them. But sometimes if you just clean it straight away, it's a quick rinse. And that's something I always repeat to myself. I'll rinse it now or I'll scrub it later. Okay, so I said before I like to cook healthy for my family. This is one of those naughty recipes I was talking about. This recipe is so simple. These are my super easy brownies. You just toss all the ingredients in, stir it up, and you bake it. This is my kind of baking. I love simple. I don't want too many hard steps. And not too much washing up either. You don't need a stand mixer, you don't need anything. You just put all the ingredients in, stir it up, and you pour it into a tray. And these brownies are my favorite brownies. The other day I tried a different brownie recipe that had a few extra steps, and it was a bit more complicated. And they weren't as good as these super simple ones. So I went back to this recipe, and I don't think I will try any other recipes. It is so good. But even if I hear someone's coming over last minute, I can whip up a batch of these brownies before they get there. It is that quick and easy. So yeah, ingredients in the bowl, stir it up, pour it in, and bake it in the oven. It's a really great last minute thing to bake. So this week I am having some friends and family that are coming over to the house, so that's why I'm making some brownies, just something a little bit special when we have visitors. I'm also taking my muesli bars out of the fridge as well. If they're a little bit hard to cut, you can just let them sit out for a little bit to soften slightly before you cut them. I love this recipe. Next time I think I might double the recipe. They might be a little bit thin, but they were delicious. They were like chewy and yum. I just love this recipe. It's definitely becoming into my regular rotation, and you can mix it up and make it fresh with all the different like mix-ins. It's a bit of fun. But cooking in my kitchen, it is one of my favorite things to do. This is how my bread turned out as well. It does have a gentle smoky flavor, but the salt didn't really change the flavor really whatsoever. So any salt you can definitely use. There's something so beautiful about cooking for your family, and being able to share this delicious food with them is just so special.